Today we head north, to the rugged hills and misty valleys of Scotland, a country defined by its folklore, rebellion, and haunting beauty. But this story doesn't unfold in the ancient stone walls of a forgotten castle. It unfolds in the suburbs, a modern community built with good intentions, East Kilbride, Scotland's first post-war new town, designed for peace, designed for families. But even the most carefully planned towns can't escape the evil that hides behind closed doors. In November of 2024, something unthinkable happened here. A young woman, only 21, was murdered in her own home. Brutally, viciously. Her name was Phoenix Spencerhorn, and her killer was someone who claimed to love her. East Kilbride sits just 10 miles south of Glasgow, a town built for the future. Leafy parks, roundabouts, shopping centers lined up like clockwork. It promised safety, order, community. But even model towns can't model human nature. Behind one of these doors, on a residential street named Glen Lethnot, a nightmare waited to unfold, and it would shatter the illusion of safety for an entire town. Welcome to Dark Matters TV, where we don't just recount crimes, we remember lives. Here, we walk slowly and carefully through the shadows, peeling back the layers of tragedy, betrayal, and human pain. Because behind every crime scene is a soul, a family, a story that deserves to be heard. If you find yourself drawn to the deeper truths, the why behind the what, if you believe that names should never be forgotten, and that by remembering them, we give meaning to their loss, then you're in the right place. We tell these stories with care, with reverence, and always with a commitment to the truth, no matter how dark that truth may be. So if that's the kind of justice you believe in, we invite you to subscribe. Your support helps us keep these voices alive, to shine a light on what others try to bury. Every share, every comment, every subscribe, it matters more than you know. If you're new here, welcome. Now's the time. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a case. And if you've been watching for a while but haven't subscribed yet, consider this your sign. Together, we bring the forgotten back into focus. And we make sure darkness never gets the final word. Phoenix was born in 2003, the youngest of 4 children in the small Scottish town of Straven. Her family, close-knit, warm, and supportive, raised her on values that matter: kindness, integrity, resilience. Those who knew her described her as radiant. Phoenix had a spark, hence the name. She worked as a waitress at the local cafe in town, often smiling through 10-hour shifts. Her dream was simple: stability, love, and her own little family one day. But love isn't always what it seems. Phoenix was in a relationship with 27-year-old Ewan Methvin, a Royal Mail postman. On the outside, he seemed ordinary. A steady job, quiet demeanor. But inside was something volatile. They had been together for 2 years, lived together, shared meals, bills, and dreams. But behind closed doors, things weren't as perfect as they seemed. Phoenix's friends noticed the signs: possessiveness, controlling behavior, isolation. But like many survivors of emotional abuse, Phoenix believed she could fix it. That love would change him. From the outside, it looked like young love in full bloom. Phoenix Spencerhorn was radiant, gentle, sharp-witted, with a heart that bruised easily but loved deeply. Ewan Methvin seemed to mirror her sensitivity. Together, they shared the kind of connection that starts in high school corridors and stretches into late-night calls, shared playlists, and whispered promises. But beneath the surface, their love wasn't soft, it was consuming. It flared fast, then flickered dark. Always together, always in touch. If Phoenix didn't text back in 5 minutes, Ewan would message again and again. He said he was just worried. She said it was sweet. But slowly, what once felt romantic began to feel suffocating. Inside jokes, deep conversations that stretched until dawn, cuddles that lasted entire afternoons. They were each other's world. Arguments that ended in tears, apologies that came with trembling hands, and silences that lasted longer than they should have. And in a relationship that intense, where one person loves with hope and the other with fear, the imbalance can turn dangerous. Saturday night, November 16th. Phoenix texts her mother, Allison, around 9:37 p.m. Having dinner with Ewan. Love you. Her last message. Ever. They'd ordered a takeaway. Neighbors reported nothing unusual. Until just past midnight, one neighbor hears thudding sounds through the wall. At approximately 12:13 a.m. Then, just like that, Phoenix stops moving. Her step count freezes. No more movement. No pace. No rhythm. Just a digital silence that echoes something far more terrifying in real life. Her step count freezes. Not because she stopped to rest, or slowed down, or changed direction, but because something or someone made her stop. And from that moment on, nothing. In that frozen timestamp, a young woman's life, full of laughter, of dreams, of ordinary plans for tomorrow, may have been stolen in the dark. We don't know exactly what happened at 12:13 a.m., but we do know this. Whatever it was, it changed everything. Let that sit with you. A life isn't just lost when a heart stops beating. Sometimes, it's lost the moment the world stops noticing the small things. A step counter. A missed call. A girl walking home who never gets there. And that's why stories like Phoenix's matter. That's why we tell them. Not just to solve them, but to honor them. To make sure her silence is never forgotten. If you believe her story deserves to be remembered, if you believe no one should vanish without answers, then please take a moment to subscribe. Your support keeps these voices alive. And in the end, it's how we make sure no one disappears into the dark without someone still looking for them. According to forensic experts and Methvin's own confession, he strangled Phoenix. Then he stabbed her. 20 times. 10 of those wounds were to her face. He then decapitated her and tried to dismember her body further, all while she lay naked, vulnerable, lifeless on the floor of their home. When questioned later, Methvin would say, "I felt lonely. I snapped. But this was no snap. This was methodical, prolonged, and monstrous." Over the next 36 hours, Methvin used Phoenix's phone to send fake messages to her mother. He texted, "Hey, sorry, I've just woken up," as if she were still alive. While her body lay decapitated in the hallway, he watched pornography on her phone, over 170 visits. He browsed social media, tried to buy cocaine, slept in the same flat. On Monday, November 18th, 2 days after her death, Methvin finally called 999, his voice calm. Hello. He claimed he'd had a drug-induced psychotic episode. He said, "I killed my girlfriend. I can't live with it anymore." Police entered the flat after Phoenix colleagues has reported her not showing up at their workplace and found Phoenix's body wrapped in a towel in the hallway. The scene was described as a horror movie. Multiple knives were found nearby. Her parents were called. They were told their daughter had been beheaded. If this story already has you shaken, please consider subscribing to this channel. These stories matter, not just for justice, but for awareness. Let's keep remembering the names behind the headlines. When police arrived at the small Glen Lethnot flat, the horror that met them was almost beyond belief. Phoenix's lifeless body was found in the hallway, naked, partially dismembered, and decapitated. Her head had been placed near her body, covered only by a towel. The killer, her own partner, stood calmly by, in his Royal Mail uniform, the very image of the ordinary man. Investigators recovered several knives. The blood trail told a clear, methodical story. Methvin was arrested on the spot. No resistance, no remorse, just quiet, as if he knew this day would come. The post-mortem results painted an even darker picture. Phoenix had been strangled first. But that was only the beginning. 20 stab wounds followed, 10 of them to her face. The coroner described it as an act of overkill, a level of brutality that suggested rage, control, and revenge. Prosecutors would later state that Methvin didn't lose control. He exercised it. Every action was deliberate. On June 17, 2025, at the High Court in Glasgow, Ewan Methvin pleaded guilty to the murder of Phoenix Spencerhorn and attempting to defeat the ends of justice. The courtroom was silent as the facts were read aloud. The Crown prosecutor described the crime as premeditated, calculated, inhuman. It was revealed that Methvin watched adult content just hours after the killing, even as Phoenix's body lay a few feet away. He used her phone to manipulate her family. He used her death as cover. On July 14, 2025, Methvin was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum of 23 years before he'd be eligible for parole. The judge said, "This crime was marked by cruelty beyond comprehension. You robbed her family of a chance to say goodbye, and you did it without mercy." Phoenix's family sat silently. Her mother, Allison, held a photo of her daughter, a photo that would now become a memory instead of a future. In the wake of this unspeakable loss, Phoenix's family did something remarkable. They chose not to drown in grief, but to rise, just like her name, a phoenix. Her family launched a fundraiser for Women's Aid, a domestic violence charity. They raised thousands of pounds in her name. Her story would not end with tragedy. It would echo with purpose. Many who loved Phoenix now look back and see the signs. Small things, subtle changes, friends being pushed away, emotional withdrawal, a sudden need to explain her partner's moods. We often ask, why didn't she leave? But the better question is, why did he make her feel like she couldn't? Abuse isn't always bruises. Sometimes it's in the silence. Glenn Lethnot sits quiet again. Neighbors avoid eye contact. The windows stay shut. And behind the front door of that small flat, time has frozen. Inside that flat, the memory of Phoenix still lingers. Her laughter, her warmth, her hope, all erased by someone who claimed to love her. But her story refuses to be forgotten. Phoenix Spencerhorn was not a headline. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend, a young woman who deserved the future she dreamed of. And she was taken by someone who couldn't stand to see her shine. Her name now stands for awareness, for intervention, for justice. If you found this story powerful, please consider subscribing. These stories deserve to be told. They shine a light on lives taken too soon, and the lessons we must never forget. Rest in peace, Phoenix. Your name will never fade. Thank you for staying with us. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.